G'day scrappers. Today I've got a nuclear analyzer, I think it is. It's a big piece of medical equipment, and obviously they connect this up to all kinds of things, I think. Maybe x-rays and who knows. But we'll scrap it out. Got a really heavy duty cable here, 600 volts. Wow. So yeah, there's a couple of panels already missing from it. This side panel here, and as you can see, we've got circuit boards here. Here, there's a motherboard at the back, and looks like the CPU is a ceramic CPU, so that's interesting. So pretty old school, and yeah, not a great deal to it. There's 3 cards and the motherboard, and there's probably yeah, that might be it. I know there should be a power supply, so a really big unit for not a great deal in it, but at least it's on wheels. Just makes it a little bit easier. Actually, this door here I can get rid of. And oh yeah, actually it's got 2 motherboards, so that's pretty awesome. And another extra card in there. All right, so I just want to get it over to this side. Okay, so it looks like there's a power supply module here, and that will reduce a lot of the weight. Then we should be able to just throw it around and see what's in it. Okay, so I think, oh yeah, wow, there's a lot of weight in that power supply. I might just leave the cable on until I see what it looks like. Oh wow, yeah, that's heavy. Let's it's not as long as I thought. I thought it was going to go all the way down. So must have some serious transformers in here or something, and some. Now you tell me, warning, heavy, must be lifted by 2 people. Okay. High voltage rock and roll. Yeah, really got to look inside that for its weight. And typical of hospital grade equipment, stainless steel. Okay. Wow, holy moly. That is by far, I thought I've gotten some big toroidal transformers in my day, but that takes the cake. That is the most hugest humongousness of a toroidal transformer. Look at that. It's what, about 5 inches high, and about it's about 8 or 9 inches in diameter. Wow, golly, it'd be look how they kind of make it. It's sort of like wax, you know, it's not wax, it's like a melted plastic on it. It's almost like they do it on as they mount it. But wow, this is really interesting. I'm just trying to work out. Okay, well, there's no real point in taking it out, because I might be able to use this this whole thing as something. It's certainly going to be high, you know, high voltage. There are a lot of people that love these toroidal transformers, and geez, you know, I've kept some of the biggest ones that I've ever gotten, but this takes a cake. And I'm just starting to think now, it might actually, I might be better off just keeping it complete, because my idea is, if it's, you know, it might be used one day as some kind of power thing, a power wall, part of a who knows, you know, it's a giant transformer as it is, and it could be used for any kind of weird and wonderful project. And so I'm thinking, God, it'd be terrible to just cut these wires off and throw this into transformers. Might get $10, but I reckon this transformer would probably be worth, like, to buy new, it would have to be worth close to $1,000. And then you got this cable. Well, I don't think I need the entire cable. I'm not sure, but because it's such, like I said, it's 600 volts cable, so it looks like it's, you know, a pretty heavy duty cable. The copper wire in there is amazing in itself. It's just so thick and heavy, so, and beautifully insulated. Yeah, so this part of the scrap, I think I'm better off value wise and common sense. In this case, it's not always the case with me, but in this case, common sense tells me that I should be keeping this complete for now. Now that I know what's in it, it wouldn't have made any difference as far as visually scrapping it, because what you see is what you got, and it's got perfect handles on both sides. Just got to find the rest of the screws. But even with this stainless steel casing, and it gives us some diagrams here, so everything's, you know, you got 120 VAC 15 amps, 120 VAC 15 amps, so 2 plugs. Yeah, when it comes to you know, preppers and stuff like that, this might make a really good video project one day to set up some kind of power thing. So, well, we've seen it. That's all we needed to do. It would be crazy for me to scrap it. I wouldn't have scrapped, you know, thrown the transformer away anyway as scrap transformer. I would have just cut the wires and just kept it, but much better to keep it like this, everything intact, and we're done with it. All right, well, that took off a hell of a lot of weight from all this, so we can continue on scrapping this nuclear analyzer of some sort. Not really sure exactly what it is, but it's just another slightly different, interesting piece. And I thought this would be awesome to just have a bit of a look at. I get excited when I see heavy duty medical equipment, because usually gold recovery wise they can be pretty intense. All right, so there's a fan module in there. I don't need the fan module. I might as well just leave it in, part of dirty scrap steel. And we'll go this side first, if I can. So obviously it also connects to Ethernet, you know, to their systems. But here's quite a nice looking motherboard, quite a different one. It's got 4 RAM sticks in there. Yay. All right. Oh wow, holy moly. So it's a Sun Microsystem. You can see the Sun Microsystem chip here. It's also a Siemens, so it's obviously a really good quality setup here. Check out this board, will you? All right, well, this card is awesome. Right, wow. Okay, so it looks like, yeah. So obviously it's a motherboard, and a super intense telecom grade motherboard. No rubbish on it, apart from these ports here. Tantalum capacitors all over it. Even got gold fingers, really nice gold pins. This board here is worth just completely depopulating for me, rather than selling it as a scrap motherboard. There's just too many good things. Even a nice pink MLCC there, I reckon, will be a good one. But yeah, just these Sun Microsystem chips, BGA, Siemens, huge BGA. Yeah, some another Sun chip here. So this board probably cost $2,000 on its own, especially with this card. All right, how's that? No, look at those gold fingers. Sort of 2 sets. Tanty. Oh, look at that. Look at those Sun chips. I need my finger. Wow. 891 900. So I'm going to look up these part numbers. Sun 1995 gold tops. Obviously they're surface mounted BGAs. I can see where the balls are. So they are BGAs, but probably, as far as BGA is concerned, as far as BGA gold recovery is concerned, probably the highest grade that I've ever seen. And these awesome little round heat sinks, they just look fantastic. They just look really, you know, high tech. And these BGAs had these awesome heat sinks on there, so it looks great. And underneath this, it looks like a CPU, but I think it's going to blow my mind as well, if it already hasn't. I'm not sure how to. These are very unusual looking screws. It's like kind of like a hex screw, but I'm not really sure how to get. They're certainly not Torx, and they're actually like, I need something like to go over them. That's going to be a bit hard. How am I going to do that? I suppose I can. It doesn't matter about the heatsink, but I want to see that CPU I can already see I can see gold plating in there on top. It's going to be a gold cap CPU, and even here we've got the rectangular BGAs with the gold corners, and these will be awesome too for gold recovery. These will be out of this world, simply because, you know, we've got gold exposed there. Wow, I wasn't really expecting this, and this is just the first motherboard, and the other side looks like where the main motherboard is. So you're gonna have to bear with me until I find a way to get these little sockets out. Hang loose. Okay, well, that's one way to do it. I just pried the whole heatsink off because I couldn't get anything in there. I didn't have a little socket. I can't find my little socket things. So, oh well. So this board now, definitely it's not going to be a keeper, because I've lost the main BGA. It's right there. Now, let's knock this BGA off, and hopefully, okay. So it looks like, now I see. What's going on here is these nuts on there are holding on to this BGA from the bolts. You know, I'm actually glad the BGA was removed like this, so it's a clean. I didn't have to wedge a screwdriver and knock it. But the only way to get this BGA off this heatsink is to still undo these. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to get this on the vise and remove these plates so I can actually get into it. So give me a second. Okay. So probably just have to, as you can see, this is my depopulation station, and I got boards sort of piled up all over the place. A lot of server and high-end boards here that I partially depopulate or completely depopulate, and it's sort of got away from me a little bit over the last few weeks. Just been focusing on getting stuff scrapped out first, but I'm going to have to spend a couple of days here depopulating stuff really soon, because I don't even have much bench space here to even do anything. So I want to sort of, I don't want to bend these. Okay, looks like it's easy enough. I could have made it a lot easier for myself, but at the same time it's okay. So there we go. So it's a little nut, and you can see the bolt, and that's one of those gold plated bolts. This one's actually going to be quite an interesting one, like the Sun Ultra. Yeah, it's definitely going to be a Sun CPU type thing, but a BGA CPU rather than one that's removable. This one's obviously surface mounted with BGAs, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be one that I certainly haven't got or seen. It's, well, one of the holy grails of CPUs when they got gold bolts sticking out. They're just awesome to look at. Yeah, it's certainly a type of CPU that everyone wants in their collection. You know, aside, you know, obviously you got your Pentium Pro and all that, but which is also one that you know, if you collect CPUs, you certainly want to have at least one of the one that everyone talks about in the Pentium Pro. But these bolt ones, it doesn't matter how many you got. You might have 100 of them. The more the better, because it just looks awesome, you know. Whereas after a few Pentium Pros, okay, yeah, they're great, they're huge, they look great, but these ones with the bolts, they're real keepers as far as I'm concerned anyway. All right, oh, here it is. Okay, here we go. So, yep, we're on track here, guys. Let's go back to our nuclear analyzer. Okay, well, there's some extruded aluminium, and here we go. So that's the BGA, obviously, and that was the foil. Yep, Ultra Spark. Oh, look at that. Oh, that's beautiful. Let me get a little bit of a tissue here. Okay, had to go and get me tissue. Yeah, with these things, you kind of don't want to wipe them too vigorously, because you don't want to wipe off the ink. Sometimes, especially like, some CPUs, the ink doesn't really last long. It must be because of the white stuff on it. I can't think of the name now, but there must be a chemical in there that doesn't do much good for the ink, and it just starts eating it away. Oh, look at that. And that'll probably shine up a bit. Oh, that's a beautiful one. I've never seen one like that. Nice gold bolts. And yeah, in BGA, so you don't have to worry about any pins. So perfect condition. It was a clean extraction, didn't peel off. And look at that Sun Ultra Spark. Wow, 1994. So, and it come out of medical equipment, so I dare say it wouldn't be a very common one. And what do we got? 74 NFF8J. Wow. And there's a few other part numbers, so one of them are going to Sun logo, Sun Ultra Spark. Fantastic. That's wow, that in itself, I mean, I'm blown away. And that's how it was. If I got the heatsink off beforehand, the board itself would have been magnificent board to just keep as it is. But that's fine, because I want this. I want these BGAs. One of them is looks pretty much perfect as far as being able to see all the writing, and this one I'll probably just put in gold recovery. But I might even open up, just have a little look inside that. It'll be good for one of them kind of projects when I just want to have a look inside. But one I'll definitely keep with my collection. This is obviously going into my collection. This is not for gold recovery ever. Even if gold goes up to $20,000 an ounce, this one would be worth it, because it's a BGA. It doesn't have too much dead weight. It does have obviously this heat spreader up the top, but awesome. And 5 nice BGAs, beautiful gold fingers. So this board obviously totally depopulated, and I'll probably I'll keep one of these heat sinks for this, just so I know what it looks like. I'll try and clip it back on maybe. Awesome. Wow, I've spent a lot of time on one board, but geez. And 8 megabyte RAM. So it just goes to show how old this piece of equipment is. Very hard to find any information online, because it's just, this would have been sitting at a medical center, or obviously a hospital for a long time before they decided to get rid of it, and most likely because no doubt they would have got every bit of use out of it, and then probably kept it in storage for a long time. Okay, so yeah, 8 megabyte ECC RAM. So it would have been good RAM in its time, but it's, yeah, just 8 megabytes. And this, as I mentioned, this motherboard here, it's just, you know, even got nice little flat pack type chips, but loaded with Tantiers, gold fingers, gold pins, really good quality gold pins here, and just, you know, a lot of chips. For me, even in this plug, for me this is total depopulation, and I want all these chips. 2 BGAs, Sun Microsystems chips, fantastic. So this one, total depopulation, wow, all right. And this card here, this is just I'll throw this into PCI slot cards for gold recovery, finger cards. All right, well that's probably made this video already longer than I was hoping, but that's okay. I'll just undo some of this wire whilst I'm here. Still a decent amount of wire as well. All adds up, eh? Yeah. Obviously, I'm not going to bother trying to get out stainless steel or anything like that. Okay, let's just flip this around. Okay. Wow. Got so much good things out of it already. Can't really expect much more, but yeah. So let's just have a look here. Quite amazing, really. All right, so here's a bonus board. Oh my gosh. When I loaded this into my van, I thought, oh yeah, you know, it'll be I'll get a couple of good boards out of it. But it's kind of blowing me away. This board, when you see it, you're going to say, wow, wow, oh my God, look at that. The only thing missing was gold cap chips, and that would be like, oh wow. But okay, so we've got a whole heap of RAM modules here. There are only 10 RAM, single-sided ICs. So what do we got? There's 9 on each one. Wow. Now what would have this be? Okay, so we've got some optical fiber ports here. So obviously a communications thing, and that just slid into the middle there, hooked up by just one cable. So didn't go into a backplane board or anything, just yeah, just it's what separates the two motherboards. Oh, unreal. I really didn't expect this board. And the flat packs here are quite impressive. I mean, obviously that's full-on telecom board, okay? But if you remove these removable flat packs, you get it down to, you'd still probably get server grade board. That's probably what I'd do. These resistor networks, so they look like tantalum capacitors, because, you know, they're yellow and they've got the little brown sort of strip on the side. But with multiple legs, they're a resistor network. So a whole bunch of resistors in one, whereas here, this one here, that's a tantalum capacitor. Okay, obviously it's got markings as well, so it's a C58. C stands for capacitor. RP6, resistor. R stands for resistor. So, you know, that further sort of clarifies it for you. So let's just want to look under one of these stickers just to yeah, well, definitely doesn't have anything spectacularly like a, you know, a gold cap or anything like that. Okay, this is the Xilinx brand chips. Okay, so once again, I'm pretty sure that this board would be quite an expensive board with all these variant flat packs in there, all Xilinx. Even the board mounted ones are Xilinx. That's the only different one. And then you got some Toshiba ICs here. Wow. So definitely a telecom grade board. Removing the, popping out these ones, so 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 would still leave us with 4, 6, 8 large flat packs. And if we left all this, the resistor networks, even leave the RAM if you like. If you sell the RAM, the tin RAM as it is, you'd get more as even as a server grade. But for me, I'll probably just take off all the IC chips, so remove these and just remove the ICs. But just a spectacular bonus board. Did not expect that. Let me just cut some wire out of here. Nice, good heavy wads of wire. All right, so that out the way, we can go for our second motherboard. Yeah, wow. Okay, so it should be the same thing, where I can just get it out from this side. All right, let's get these ribbon cables out. So even these type of ribbon cables, so good high quality. I take off these plugs. I can actually throw this bit of ribbon cable into regular mid-grade insulator wire, because it's a very heavy grade, so there'd be pretty good copper in there. And this is the best way I find to remove the plugs if you're just keeping them for gold recovery. So remove them completely off the thing, off the wire, and having complete backings. They look okay. It's a hit and miss whether these are any good or not. Okay. I thought there was only 3 cards. There's 3 big ones and then 2 small ones. So 5 cards. There's the motherboard. There's a nice little heatsink on a socket 3. I dare say it'll be a pretty not bad CPU either. It's not going to be nothing like that first one. Wow. I just so innocently put this into the van thinking, oh yeah, I'll get a few boards. Oh man, I just did not expect something that I personally just really enjoy. All right, let's get one of these big cards out. All right. Not the best gold fingers. They're pretty shiny. They're not like a deep yellow. They're more of a bright yellow. So far, okay. Wow. Okay, so we've got resin dipped tantalum capacitors. Okay, I usually take all these. I like them. Good silver content, as well as obviously tantalum. We do have a couple of DAC ceramic IC chips, so they are board mounted. So, you know, when they're ceramic, there are, you know, it's usually a good chance to get better gold recovery out of them. Doesn't always happen like that. And I mentioned Resistor Networks. Well, these long ones, see these long yellow strips? They're also Resistor Networks. And so, sure, you got silver recovery in there. I'm not sure if anyone's ever found any traces of gold in these. Could be. But for me, they're just out of my league. And so these ones are square, sort of chunky looking ones, and then you got these smooth, rounded, sort of like resin dipped ones. So they're all Resistor Networks. Just trying to work out what to do. And you know, as far as most circuit boards, pretty much everything has got silver recovery. So if you're really into silver recovery, then, you know, like this inductor here, this round tubular inductor, so it's coded L for inductor, there will be silver there. Here's a little tantalum capacitor, tiny one, tiny little, they're probably like MLCC type capacitors, these really tiny ones. Way too small for me. But even like just regular resistors, sure, you're going to get silver recovery, and possibly sometimes you'll get traces of gold. But, you know, usually when people are processing these, it's going for silver recovery. They're not really, you know, silver is just not worth that much to go through and, you know, using up chemicals and all that to try and recover that silver. It's really all about gold, you know, for most processors. Sure, the bigger processors at the end, they might say, okay, we've got this sludge, we've taken out all the gold, you know, we can go now for other metals. Or in some, depends on the processor, some very large processors will get 3 metals out at in the first process, and that's gold, silver and copper. But, you know, for backyard refiners or anything like that, you know, we're basically just going for gold and easy stuff. So, yeah. All right. Well, so, yeah. So all I was trying to say with this board, it could go as a server grade card rather than just a regular card. Would have to take off this little bracket. It does, yeah, even these gold pins here aren't that spectacular. They've got to be an orange. You know, these ones are better. They're not as shiny. Yeah, but for me, all I'll do is I'll remove this flat pack in there, this removable one here, some of the tantalum capacitors, and I'll just throw this into server grade card or server grade board. Okay, next one. Sorry, I went on a bit too long. Okay, so these gold fingers here, these are quite a lot better. Are they? Yeah, they're very similar. Might be a touch better, just a slightly more orange. So they're not bad. Let's have a look. Okay, well, yeah, quite a nice board. And we've got your regular tantalum capacitors, and we've got these, they're marked, yeah, they're also capacitors. They're a long tantalum capacitor, so they're quite unusual, really high, quite unusual there. Yeah, really not a bad little board this. There is a EEPROM here, and it just depends whether it's a gold one or not. If it doesn't show gold in the window, if you can't see the gold bonding wires, then there's a good chance, you know, most likely it's not going to be gold. And something else, something could be anything, but okay. So this one, I can see like silvery bonding wires. So obviously not gold. It could be silver, could be tin, aluminium, could be anything. So these ones are different. I would just throw these into regular IC chips, or, you know, in this case, you're better off leaving it on the board to make the board look better. And yeah, there's not much I would take off this, because I'd want to keep this as a server grade card. I'll probably just remove some of these tantalums, just for a little bit of fun, maybe a couple of little of these flat packs, but leave the main flat packs, leave that, and I'll get nice, I mean, it's almost telecom grade. Could probably get telecom grade, or if I just remove this bracket here, yeah, but because I don't sell telecom grade, I'd rather drop it down slightly to server grade. It's really not much difference in price value anyway. So okay, so this looks like, well, okay, so this one, well, this is nice. It's got yeah, good gold fingers, double-sided, good. Yeah, same kind of deal. This would go as a telecom, sorry, a server grade card, or just server grade board if you left these fingers on. You know, almost if you took these fingers off, it could just about be a server grade board. But yeah, I'm not sure. This one's a little bit harder to judge. Okay, so next card. All right, so your standard, what is it, diamond multimeter. So it's obviously a video VGA card. Does have resin dipped tantalum capacitors. Does have an EEPROM. No, well, no, it's just a removable IC. Doesn't have the glass window. So in this case, I would probably remove this, remove these two removable ICs, a couple of the little tanties, and leave it as a slot card. Because, yeah, the gold fingers are okay, but on the other side you can see there's only a few and a lot of gap. So better off leaving it as what it is. Alright, and same with this one, I'll just leave it completely as is, even probably just leave this IC on there. I can see the gold fingers are probably the you know, the lowest of the whole lot. You probably can't see the difference, but they're more faded, so less gold recovery, and the same deal, it's got gaps on it, so definitely worth selling this as just a slot card. And here's our motherboard. Awesome. Let's get this out. Thanks to all you guys that on my last video I was talking about Odyssey, and you've logged on and signed up at Odyssey. That was awesome. Almost got 200 followers on Odyssey now. Yeah, so thanks to everyone that's logged in and checked out my alternative video platform, and eventually I will put up some exclusive videos just on that platform. Okay, so here's our motherboard. It's a, yep, your standard type of motherboard. There is one RAM slot in there, and it's only a tin, but I take these ones off regular PC type motherboards. Very unusual one. It's got a US flag in black and white, but 6 IC chips, and that's all I want from that. And then you also got these, what most likely are a memory type of IC chip, so really nice there, bit of a bonus. And then the AMI BIOS EEPROM here. We'll just check out and see. Okay. Yeah, no, the bonding wires, I mean, the little chip is slightly yellow, but that's only the silicon die. But the bonding wires that are leading off it are all silvery, so it's most likely not a gold one. And then we've got the CPU. Okay, it's one of those with the heatsink mounted on it. Very hard to get off in some of these, but it's a socket 3. I dare say it's going to be a nice ceramic CPU under this. You ready? Oh, it's yeah, it's just hard to tell what it is. Warranty if seal is broken. Well, who's going to break that seal? But it's got a cute little American flag on there. This is a nice one. Hey, I have no idea what type of CPU it is, because the heatsink is flush mounted pretty solidly onto this CPU. So I would have to put in a vise and use a screwdriver and just try and pop it off, because the heatsink's no good to me. I'll try and do that. So this just goes as a regular PC motherboard. So that was good. And the rest in here, it's just some wires that is all running through that I'm just going to cut out, get that extra value there. And it looks like there could be a couple of hard drives in there that I'll take out. I'll just do that in my own time because the video's already gone on. Let me just try and pop this open. Okay. The ceramic was slightly wider than the heatsink, so I should have gotten a good grip there. And all I want to do is just gently try and pop it off, and here we go. Can't tell you how handy a vise is. And some people say, well, man, that's the oldest worn out vise I've ever seen. Well, this, when I first left school, I left school really early. As soon as I turned 15, I got a job at a motorcycle shop. And this was the old vise the motorcycle shop used in the 70s and early 80s. For a long time, they built choppers and all kinds of Harleys and stuff. But yeah, a lot of choppers in those days. My boss was actually in, back in those days, he was in Mad Max. Lance, he's the guy that drove this Mad Max 1. He rode the bike with a sidecar, and it's like an orange, and it's got a bubble. And he only said, I think one word in his line was, "Yeah, mate," or something like that. And then he took off on the bike down the road. And that was his claim to fame, is top guy actually. And yeah, he told me he got paid $200 to be in Mad Max, and for the bike he got paid $400. So his bike was worth more than him in the movie. So he got $600 for being in the movie and bringing his bike. It's just a little funny story. Anyway, so this vise came from that motorcycle shop when we, back in the day, we replaced this old vise with a new one, and they let me take this. And so it was used in that bike shop for like 15 years, and God knows where it was used before that. But it's really ancient. It's got a lot of weld stuff on it, but it's an awesome vise. Super heavy. Sorry to get off subject there. All right. Oh dear. And I've got my coffee here. Cold coffee, nothing like it. Okay, let's have a look at this really nice CPU. I hope it's something different. Because I've just taken it out, the pins are spanking straight condition. I really like the little seal sticker with the American flag. So let's have a look if it's anything. Okay, so it's an AMD Advanced Micro Devices 486 DX2. Okay, so it's yeah, the type that I like. I like different logos. So this one, the logos are kind of slightly worn out, as you can see on the rubber of the heatsink on this stuff. You can see the that's the IBM logo, or the Microsoft logo, Windows logo, and you can see it's only half there. The other half is stuck on this rubber stuff. So this, you know, over time, yeah, that's the only problem. If this was complete, it would be nicer. But yeah, I might just put this in my collection. All right, so the first thing we got was this absolutely amazing toroidal transformer, and this whole transformer box. I think everything here is going to be, it looks like, yeah, there's this like fuses in here, relays of some sort, all kinds of things. So I think this whole thing is best off just kept as it is, because that, my friends, is the biggest toroidal transformer I've ever seen. And I'm just going to get my scales just to get an idea of what this bloody thing weighs. Got it on the scales, and that's 36 kilos, and that's without the wire. 39.8, so there's 4 kilos of really high grade wire there. So 36 kilos, which is what, about 85, 90 pounds. Wow. So I'd say that the transformer itself weighs over 30 kilos, because the rest of this certainly doesn't weigh 6 kilos. So how's that? I'd say about a 32 kilogram transformer. So about 70 odd pounds. 70 pound transformer, toroidal transformer at that. Heavy duty cabling, fantastic. Can't get much better than that in this caper, for me anyway, unless you go super industrial. All right, well, yeah, that in itself, I reckon it must be worth a small fortune. You know, a 75 pound toroidal transformer, not just your regular transformer. And this is what all the, you know, the power guys, power wall guys and preppers and stuff, this is what they're looking for, toroidals. They love toroidals. Yeah, if anyone's interested in this, I'm probably not going to be interested in selling it. I think this one, I'd sell the other ones that I've got slightly smaller that I used to think were huge, but this takes the cake. 32 kilos of it. All right, so in the end, we got our the most recent motherboard. So that was the second one that we got. Yep, good motherboard, and all the cards that came from that motherboard. So we went through all that. So 5 good cards, some of them a lot better than the others. And then the other motherboard, much better, 10 RAM, but yeah, a lot of tantalums, Goldfingers, awesome Sun and Siemens chips, also a couple of BGAs. So a good quality motherboard. I probably, you know, I'll still sell it as a motherboard. Might just pinch a couple of things off it. And this surprise telecom grade board, all these RAM modules here that I can take all these IC chips. So there's 9 on each one. 54 IC chips. Bang. And then all these flat packs, and probably just turn this into, yeah, I'll see how it looks. I might be able to get away with it being a server grade board. If not, I might take off a couple of more chips and turn it into a mid-grade board. But there are some beautiful gold pins here as well that I wouldn't mind. So yeah, it's also got the, I mentioned that, the those little ports, and that was a card that came off the first motherboard, and 1 RAM stick, and then the CPU that we just got, the AMD 486 DX2, that's off the second motherboard. Awesome, just awesome to get ceramic CPUs these days, because they're getting harder and harder to find. And then this, what is probably one of the most beautiful fingerboard cards I've ever pulled. It definitely is, simply because of this. Like I said, if this didn't pop off, if I sort of hopefully I'll get another one and I'll know what to do next time. You know, I probably would have just kept it, taken off these heat sinks and cleaned it all up and just kept it. You know, how's that? Gold cap BGAs, gold corner BGAs, and then the ultimate Sunspark bolted CPU rare BGA mount style. Really interesting and quite thin, and so there'd be good gold recovery by weight with these. I'd love 1,000 of these. Oh, but I'd love 1,000 of these little things too, because they're fantastic. Never seen gold cap BGAs like this. Sun Microsystems, and wow, you know, I've got CPUs, standalone CPUs, UltraSpark with the gold bolts, but nothing like this one. Fantastic. I'd love to get a couple of more of these. And even the gold fingers are amazing. Double-sided, amazing, really nice, awesome gold recovery. Obviously, I'm going to just remove everything here for gold recovery. Wow. So out of a awkwardly heavy box, and mind you, this weighs about 10 kilos or so, so all the weight was in this amazing transformer. So I didn't even expect that. I thought it was just going to be a slide out power supply unit that I was just going to throw into power supplies. My gosh, you know, what an awesome surprise. Even this board here was an awesome surprise, just being in the center in between the two motherboards. Fantastic. Did not expect all that. Fantastic. Even got a couple of bucks worth of or a few bucks worth of wire and maybe a couple of hard drives. Wow, what a great scrap. What a huge surprise. Bonus. Alright guys, well I hope that was a bit of fun for you. It was certainly amazing for me. I just yeah, it just sort of blew me away. It's, you know, not very often when you get things and you go to scrap them and what comes out of them is totally opposite, or you know, to what you you know, even expected. So yeah. All right guys, well got a few other videos in line in the plan, so look out for the next videos coming up soon. Yeah, and if you haven't already done so and you want to support not only this channel here on YouTube, but support me on my secondary channel, or well, the mirror channel, which is odyssey.com. There's a link in the description. Have a look for my Odyssey link. Yeah, and support me there, sign up, and you can also check out some videos there. I haven't got any exclusive videos on there yet, but pretty soon I'll have a couple of exclusive videos just on Odyssey. And yeah, alright guys, keep scrapping, have fun, and I'll catch you real soon.